Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And this is our fantasy extravaganza episode. So,
Fantastical fantasy.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Very fantastical. I didn't realize how many bad fantasy movies there were until I was like trying to find one to watch. It's like one of those genres that I just never really, I don't know. I guess I didn't know what to expect. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd venture to say, like after watching some of these, I'm like, oh, I think kind of most of these are bad.
yeah.
Like almost like something I was realizing. I mean, this is going to be something we said during, but just in general, I guess is an overall thing to start out is like they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
I just realized all just a hero's journey, kind of either go kill the bad guy or go save the princess, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And they need
or
to
sometimes
be
both. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they need to be really good to be good.
Yeah, like they need some originality in this genre. Like Game of Thrones was a pretty original fantasy series. It's like a political, even though it sucked at the end, but a political kind of drama of trying to win the throne.
Yeah.
Not like some people going on a long journey.
Oh yeah, it was more character based, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize how spoiled we were by Lord of the Rings until I watched these three films. So
we all felt Lord of the Ringsy.
Oh yeah.
Well, except for Monkey King, I guess. But
yeah.
Oh yeah, Monkey King. Yeah. Well. I mean, what the spoilers before we get too far? Yes, one of the movies is about a monkey. And at some point, we actually are going to probably do monkey movies on this show too. So, you know, this is kind of our head start.
Yeah,
to
it's on the wheel.
Yep, indeed. Which we will be spitting in the finale. But yeah, yeah. I mean, before we get started, is there anything you guys want? Is there any news or anything going on? I mean, I'm not keeping up with much. So.
I saw the newest Shazam movie.
Oh,
It wasn't that great, but it's DC, so.
That's what I've heard too. Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the first, I take it.
To me, no. The person I saw it with said it was better than the first one, but I don't know. I didn't like the first one that much either, so.
I didn't see any of them.
Yeah.
I try to avoid DC. They're always rated low, and then I don't like any of the DC heroes really.
Yeah.
Just Batman. That's pretty much all you got to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman seems to be like the big fan favorite ultimately.
The new Suicide Squad's pretty good though.
Oh, that one from a bit ago now. It's been a bit now, but I still want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too. The one that was just the Suicide Squad or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the titles of these movies.
Oh, right. James Gunn's do. Oh, so DC might be coming around if James Gunn's helming a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he completely changed everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting how James Gunn is starting to kind of become the premier name a little bit
of comic book movies going in to fix them.
Yeah, especially starting with Trauma. Got to start from Trauma.
I love that.
Did he? Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, his first movie was Tromeo. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it. So the Tromeo and Juliet, you know, which I mean, he does kind of have he lays the benchmark for what his trademark character or his trademark humor is, which is kind of brash type of humor. The Guardians of the Galaxy kind of has it a little bit, but and the Suicide Squad definitely had it. But his early movies that still had sort of the early attempts at that kind of thing, you know, which is I don't know. To me, it was mostly gross. Like I didn't really like that Slither movie very much. It's just about like slugs and stuff. Just, ugh.
Oh yeah.
I think I've only seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like maybe even just the first one.
Yeah.
I can't tell. The Marvel movies all blend together. I think I've like maybe seen the second one because I did like the first one a lot.
Second one had Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and Groot was young Groot.
Yeah.
Okay, then yes, I did see that one. Yeah.
Yeah. That one wasn't that great, but
I
Yeah.
agree. I like the first one more. The first one reminded me of Star Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. That little raccoon.
Yeah. All right. Well, is that all?
I saw Cocaine Bear.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
It was good.
Good.
Like,
good.
I mean, for what it is, going in just expecting some fun popcorn, funny flick. It was pretty funny. Just wildly just out there. But yeah, comedy, horror-ish. It's not really horror, but it's definitely a comedy wacky-do
Nice.
of a bear doing cocaine and murdering people.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to see that one.
Directed by Elizabeth Banks, too.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
From Wet Hot American Summer.
Did she do that, too?
Well, she didn't direct that, but she was in it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Zach and Mary make a porno.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Nice. Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. I'd recommend it for a good, fun time. Grab some popcorn, little drinks or smokes, you know?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
It sounds funny.
It was, yeah.
Glad it's doing well. It was Ray Liotta's last film, apparently.
That's right. I
yeah.
was like, wait, isn't he dead? I even looked it up after because I know we did that episode on it. And I was like, wait, he's dead, right? Why is he in this? But I mean, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, of course they filmed it before, but like this came out way later than he died, I feel. But
Yeah.
maybe it was
Yeah.
like a COVID film or something.
Yeah. Did they pay tribute to him in the credits? Like,
Yeah,
R.I.P. Ray Liotta.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was his last film? Or is there any more coming out?
I think that's his last.
Yeah, I think so.
What a way to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we shall get started because I can't think of anything I've seen lately that I really want to talk about. I don't know. I don't know. Nothing I can think of really. So I guess we'll start with your choice, Zach, the one that the fantasy film that you chose.
Yeah. I am the one that chose the Monkey King.
Yeah.
Um,
It has like a subtitle too, doesn't it? Like Awaiting Heaven.
yeah.
Havoc at Heaven or something. Havoc in Heaven.
Havoc in Heaven. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to look for it, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked interesting. Had Donnie Yen, which
Yeah.
turned out to be really weird. But
Oh my God. Yeah. That's one thing that, well, before that, I am aware of the story ish of Wukong.
Okay.
If you like, because it's an ancient Chinese mythology there's this whole story that it's based on is Wukong. He's a monkey king. I know the character more so because he's in a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Like there's a League of Legends character after him. A game just came out called Wu Long. You're not a monkey, but you basically have his powers and stuff. There's a really cool looking game coming out that is just Wukong.
Nice.
And Dragon Ball Z is based off of the Wukong mythology. So
yeah, I thought so because it was like Nimbus Cloud. I'm like,
yep.
okay.
And the
Yeah.
whole monkey stuff, turning into a giant ape and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, the whole story of DBZ is inspired by the Wukong mythology.
It's,
Yeah.
extending staff.
Yep. I love that weapon. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of games, it does like sometimes grow to that big statue he pulled out and then he just whips around and
Yeah.
it's a really cool weapon.
It's funny
Yeah.
because Chow Yun Fat is in the Dragon Ball live action movie.
That too, yeah. What came first, this or the Dragon Ball movie?
I think the Dragon Ball movie.
Ah,
Yeah, I was most excited to see this for Donnie Yen. Like because I wasn't real. I mean, I Chow Yun Fat. He's already been in so much crazy garbage that I wasn't. It's like to me, it's like, all right, yeah, he's gonna probably do his usual thing, you know. But I was curious to see how the lead actor would handle the title character.
weirdly.
Yeah. It sounded like Jar Jar Binks the whole time. It's kind
It's
of
frustrating.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Real annoying, yeah.
Jar Jar Binks on steroids.
Yeah.
Like I get it. That's the character is supposed to be like a monkey, mischievous monkey, but like he could have reined it in a bit.
Yeah.
They should have reined it in a lot. Like, yeah, have him be playful and stuff, but not like annoying. Come on.
Yeah. Like maybe have his normal voice, but still have the mannerisms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was kind of doing it a lot during like a lot of serious moments, which kind of made the whole film feel sort of inconsequential at a lot of points. I mean, there were a lot of other things that were happening too that were kind of making it that as well, but that I felt a little disconnected from his character, you know, because I was just mostly
Yeah.
watching him do stuff, you know. So.
Yeah. The terrible CG didn't help at all either.
This movie was like an eyesore to look at, honestly, from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like all the all besides, I guess, like the human characters, which were like a couple, but like all the monkey characters and everything were like, ugh, it hurt to look at.
Yeah.
yeah. I have to admit, like during all the saturated colors and the synchronized movements with everybody doing the exact same movement at the same time at one another, like I was starting to get some food fight flashbacks at a couple points.
Yeah. Even like the opening scene, I saw pixelated stuff in the CG.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
all right, this is what we're getting.
Yeah.
Heavy pixelation, yeah.
Yeah, it took
So
me
I agree. But go on.
like 4 hours to finish this.
Yeah, I fell asleep twice watching it.
Yeah.
It was really hard to get through. I didn't mind all the costumes. Some of the costumes were okay.
Yeah,
like
like
the ones. Oh yeah,
I'll say the Donnie Yen's costumes, it was pretty good looking. He's just fucking annoying.
yeah.
I'd
It's
say,
more the
yeah, I thought they looked pretty good, but a little fakey too, like a little definitely styrofoam or
Yeah,
whatever
especially
they use.
the other animals, like the demon side of things, like that bear.
yeah.
The panda bear or the,
It's like the grizzly bear. There's a brown bear.
yeah, yeah.
Looked like a Muppet, like that one bear Muppet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Fozzie or
No, there's like another one, unless that's a different animal. I don't know. It looked like a Muppet.
Yeah, some of the puppetry was decent, but a lot of it kind of drew a lot of attention to itself. The hokiness was, I preferred it to the really bad CGI at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, definitely would have preferred sets instead of. And it wasn't even just that. It was like terrible editing with it too. It was like weird angles of everything and then cut to like a completely different thing.
Yeah, like the part where they were holding each other's tails and floating and like then there's like a big fireball thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't really quite follow some of it.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I lost at times. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh well.
Mhm.
I mean, towards the end, like there were some moments that I thought were kind of cool. Like some of the when there was more movement. Um, I mean, a lot of it was just like a lot of people floating around and a lot of superimposition and stuff. But toward the end, when there were some fight scenes and stuff, like I thought some of the sound design was okay. The music was kind of nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally didn't mind most of the fight scenes, even though they
Yeah,
were CGI as hell. But again, I like that monkey fighting style with a big ass bow staff or whatever,
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Especially
he
that.
used and he used all the Wukong like moves I've seen in video games, like multiplying himself and disappearing and all that kind of shit.
yeah. The posing or like the poses and the stances and like the just general like pace of the fight scenes were actually pretty good. So I mean, at least that aspect of the film was done right. But it was kind of a bummer that a lot of the early fight scenes were done in these sets that weren't really sets, but more just like spaces and
Yeah, there's
I
a
don't know.
lot of them that were like they did it on wires because they're flying.
Yeah,
But I think that
cool.
first one, the first fight scene, he's like
Yeah,
in that training area. That was pretty cool one.
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Should we like what should we go over the plot? I mean, there's not like there's a bunch of stuff that happens. It kind of
Yeah, I can read the plot summary. It's kind of a
yeah.
long one,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know if you want to get that much into this one.
That's
Seeing
the
as
thing.
I
Yeah.
think we all can agree this wasn't a great one.
Yeah. I don't know. What were there anything was there anything about it that stood out to you, Nick?
No, no. I mean, like I said, I did like the the mythology of Wukong just because I'm a general fan, but I don't even know how much this was connected to the actual myth of Wukong, or if it was just like their own story they made up based on it. Because
Yeah.
I like I said, I don't know the actual myth. I just know the character really.
Says
Well,
the plot is based on an episode of Journey to the West, a 16th century Chinese literary classic.
hmm.
So an episode of that, I don't know.
Hmm.
Okay. So this is kind of the thing is, all right, I guess my overall feeling about this movie is that if it had been animated, I would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah,
I think it was somewhat brave to have it be characters and costumes, but I think I get the impression that this was I almost get the impression that this might have been like partially inspired by like maybe an animated movie or show that already exists or something because that's how familiar the plot felt like not just as far as it being like Dragon Ball Z, but I could easily picture like
Right.
this exact story being done in animated form. So but I think they were trying to sell it on the names like that were in it, and they were impressive names.
Hmm.
It's just that's kind of all the film had going for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was like it went like DBZ copied Wukong, and then this one copied DBZ.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the fights with them just flying around, punching each other and shit were so DBZ.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were. Yeah, like they were even edited like like a DBZ. It felt like it was edited and shot, or like the camera angles and everything, like with the close-ups of the faces. Like there were constant close-ups of the faces. It just felt like I don't know, storyboard wise, maybe they should have tried to make this animated at some point and
Hmm.
maybe just use like just the voice actors. I don't
Yeah,
know.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Most of it's already animated anyway. So,
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have him do motion capture instead or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should I read the plot? I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you what the plot was other without reading this.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Is there like yeah, I don't know. If you want, it's not. I can't really think of much to say about it. Really, like you'll probably
Skim
read.
over it.
I'll be like, "Yep, that's true. That did happen." Yep, there was that too. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Just like I don't know. This movie isn't really
I mean,
sticking.
I mean, if it's long, you don't have to read the whole thing. But
5 paragraphs.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I can get through them quick if we don't have any much comments, but
Yeah.
yeah.
all right. During an attack on heaven, the Bull Demon King battles and loses against the Jade Emperor, Chow Yun Fat, the ruler of heaven. The Emperor's sister and Bull Demon King's lover, Princess Iron Fan, convinces the Emperor to spare him and banishes him, Princess Iron Fan, and the rest of the demons to Flaming Mountain. The goddess Nua sacrifices her body to rebuild heaven with crystals. The Jade Emperor appoints his nephew, Erlang Shen, to guard the southern gate, despite Erlang's resentment of the task. One of the crystals falls to Mount Huaguo. I'm gonna be terrible at pronouncing some of these words, but
you could do it. You could do it dramatically if you want. If it helps, like.
Yeah, I think I got most of them down, but
Okay.
The crystal taking form of a monkey over time. A nine-tailed fox is scarred after touching the crystal and whisked away by a mysterious force.
Oh, was that a 9-tailed fox too?
I couldn't tell that.
It didn't look. It looked like it had one tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised. And they showed that a few different times too. They showed that like the interaction and then the whole like capturing and stuff.
Yeah, I never noticed it was 9.
No, I know that's a mystical beast in there, and maybe it's in that literature. I don't know. I thought it was Japanese though, but
yeah, just because of the Pokemon.
and Naruto.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Years later, the monkey is taken in and trained by Subhuti, naming him Sun Wukong. The Bull Demon King plans to invade heaven again by using Wukong and preying on Erlang's anger towards the Jade Emperor. Erlang agrees to help the Demon King in exchange for getting to kill his uncle and take heaven's throne. The plan is kept secret from Princess Iron Fan, who is pregnant with the Demon King's child. Wukong travels to the palace of the Dragon King to find weapons for the Mount Huoguo monkeys.
The design of the monkeys got pretty repetitive. I could have used a little more variety with them. They all kind of look the same.
Yeah. Got like the dick nose looking ones.
that one was the unique one. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I was getting it because there was another one that had a dick nose. I feel like that looked like a lot like it, but I think it was like a different color or something. Like I feel like there were at least 2 dick nosed.
I think.
Yeah.
I only remember the one, but who knows? And that dragon, like I was surprised he was a dragon king since he was that place was underwater.
Yeah.
This movie reminds me of Aquaman.
Yeah, because I've seen, wasn't Shang-Chi, they had an underwater dragon?
Yeah, in that last fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like a thing maybe? Underwater dragon?
It's like a Leviathan.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. After defeating the Dragon King, Wukong becomes intrigued by a staff planted in the sea. He removes it, causing a violent storm. The Bull Demon King asks a young vixen if she'd like to meet her old friend again. She is revealed to be the 9-tailed fox, and the Demon King as the force that whisked her away, claiming to have saved her life. After the Dragon King informs Heaven of Wukong's destruction, Erlang sends Neza to arrest him. which that name sounded so familiar. Is that like another show or something? Neza, another movie?
Maybe. Nothing's really sticking out right now, but
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if either of you knew,
Mm.
but maybe it's another anime.
it probably is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of characters with names like that. So.
Yeah, like Sun Wukong. Goku's name is Son Goku.
Oh
Yeah.
Good. Forgot about that.
Then Gohan.
Yeah. Pretty sure
yeah.
it's just Son
Gohan.
Gohan.
Son Gohan.
Yeah. The vixen who reveals her name to be Ruxu. I think that's how it says. How do you say it?
I think it's like Roge. Ooh, like the X is not an X sound, I think. Some type of dialect thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rouge. Rouge.
Sure. That
Yeah.
It
sounds
was
good.
something like that. Yeah, I can't tell if it was that, but it wasn't Ruxu. That's I know that. Yeah,
I feared as much, but
it looks like it.
yeah,
But
I'm white, so she reunites with her old friend Wukong. He promises to make her immortal after learning she will die when she turns 200 years old. The pair are attacked by Nessa, but is killed by the Bull Demon King. Wukong befriends the Demon King, who appeals to Wukong's ego and tempts him with heaven's treasures, including immortality. Wukong journeys to heaven and learns the secret to immortality.
Yeah.
The Demon King and Erlang conspire further, revealing that if Wukong consumes the Emperor's elixir, it will increase his power. Erlang tries to convince the Jade Emperor that Wukong is a demon, but Subhuti intervenes, explaining Wukong is not evil. Wukong meets the Emperor and is given a position caring for the stables, which that was a weird scene.
Yeah. I guess
probably could have done without it, but yeah.
Yeah.
That whole sequence.
Yeah, I was confused why that was even in the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, especially with the horses doing the same thing. Like, oh, copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It mostly just again distracted me from what was going on. So
they looked cool, the horses. They were like dragon horses.
Yeah, it was a cool design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they
I
flew off, they looked a lot better, but
yeah. Some of the designs were pretty neat. Like I liked the way that whole part looked.
Yeah. But he was like just fucking around in the stables the whole time, like
yeah.
asking him if he wants water, and they're like, "No, we can only drink at this time." And he's like, "What? You can only drink? You can't drink whenever you want? You can't have water whenever you want? What the fuck?" And then that asshole came in and started whipping him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Princess Iron Fan learns of the Demon King's plan, who justifies his attack as destiny. Wukong comes across a large kiln. Erlang, disguised as a maiden, tempts him by revealing that the Emperor's elixir is made there. Wukong is restrained by Subhuti. I'm gonna stop correcting myself on that one.
I just was thinking of like even though they look a bit different, like Master Roshi from fucking DBZ, just because I was relating it a lot to DBZ.
Yeah,
it was like his in Dragon Ball, the first series, he had an old dude that was apprenticing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Chung Yao Fat in the live action Master Roshi.
Yeah. Pretty much. He ends up kind of being like the main.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Maybe we should do that one at some point.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I'd be down for it.
um, I lost my. Wukong consumes the elixir and battles Erlang until he flees. Ashamed, Wukong leaves heaven and returns to find Mount Huaguo destroyed and all his friends dead, including Rouge, who has a dark substance around her neck.
Yeah.
Enraged, Wukong returns to heaven after the Bull Demon King convinces him that they are responsible. Wukong attacks heaven's armies and the Emperor. All right, last paragraph.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
not bad
picture
then.
everything, like all of this, only having a main character bouncing around a room, basically, like while all this is happening. I mean, that's kind of
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
whole movie. Although this last part though is actually when it gets good, I thought. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little fight.
Yeah, it was
A big
badass.
fight, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be epic.
Mhm.
So it could have been more epic, but I don't know. At that point, I wasn't expecting much, so I got more than I expected. So
Suhudi battles the Demon King but is defeated. Wukong notices the Demon King conjure the same dark substance he found on Rouge and realizes he was the one that killed his friends. Wukong attacks the Demon King but is defeated. Through a vision, the goddess Guan Yin helps Wukong realize his mistakes. The Demon King defeats the Emperor and kills Erlang, taking the throne. Wukong battles the Demon King once more, sending him crashing to Earth. Later, Princess Iron Fan gives birth to Red Boy. They find the Bull Demon King, who, having lost all his power, has been turned into a regular bull. Iron Fan explains that this is the fate of evil men, but continues to care for the bull regardless. Wukong wishes to help the Emperor rebuild heaven, but he is stopped by Buddha. Buddha reveals that Wukong's chance for atonement will arrive in 500 years, but must sleep inside Buddha's hand-turned mountain until then. Wukong agrees and is sealed by Buddha. 500 years later, Tang Sanzang approaches the mountain.
it's really cool because it's like it kind of reveals the film as being sort of more of an origin story, which I didn't expect. Like, so I like that. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's 2 sequels, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like those sequels are probably, they would have to be better than this, I would say, because like all the important stuff has already kind of happened to the main character. Like, he's already gone through the process of becoming who he is supposed to kind of like what, like the part of his story that makes him legendary, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is about the sequel, the villain in the first one, the Demon Bull, he plays the Monkey King in the second one.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Guess Donnie Yen didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame him. They kind of reused the same shot of his face like 24 times. I mean, after a while, those lights probably start burning. All the spirit gum that he had to use for the fur.
Yeah. Couldn't recognize him at all.
No, not really.
Yeah. It kind of felt like a movie made for babies. Like, I feel like after this, the story is gonna get more serious. Like the stakes are gonna be raised, and soon, like, things will actually sort of evolve and escalate. But at this point, it kind of just seems like the main character just has to learn a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which is tough because that's always the least interesting part of a lot of these movies or a lot of these stories. Is when the characters have, like, when the heroes have to go through all the shit. Like you said, the hero's journey.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading about the second one now. Sammo Hung
Oh,
did the action choreography for it.
nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I would definitely be curious to see the sequel, I think. Only
Yeah.
because, like, it couldn't help but be better,
Yeah, I'd check it out.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to now.
Oh, sorry.
Is it rated better than the first one?
I'm not sure. Let's see.
I hope so. If not, I'm shit.
There's a bunch of movies named Monkey King.
Oh, darn. Okay.
So first one has a 2.3 on Letterboxd,
Okay.
and the second one has a 2.9. So
Okay.
a little better.
Okay.
Third one, 2.7.
Oh. Okay. Well,
Still
let's
better
not
than
get
the
our.
first one. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, 2.9 is definitely better than 2.3. Yeah, 2.9 is closer to a 3 almost.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna, get my hopes up too high with the sequels, but I would still be kind of curious to watch them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Overall, how would you summarize the Monkey King?
I don't know. Like,
What's the word you would use to, like, if somebody said, give me one word that you'd use to describe it, what would that word be?
a mess.
All right.
I don't know.
I'll take it.
Ugly.
I mean, yeah, there you go. That's a better one.
Yeah, I would say bright. Very bright.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, but not bright as in smart, but just bright as in, like, blinding lights.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to say.
Yeah.
I
What year
gave
was
it
this made?
2014.
Okay. And what did you give it?
A 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward a 2, only because, like, I feel like there is potential. Like, just because, like, even though I thought that I couldn't take the tone seriously because of the main character, that was sort of the main thing that was really, like even like with all the bad CGI and stuff like that, everything, he just made everything feel kind of irrelevant a lot of the time. And so I liked when shit started getting serious and more characters started getting killed and stuff like that. Like, I
Yeah.
like that stuff. All that was good. But it took so long to get there. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah. I think I had higher expectations. That's why my rating's so low. Like
yeah.
Donnie Yen, Chunya Fat. I didn't look at the ratings before watching this either. So
Yeah. Yeah, neither did I. Yeah, I'm leaning toward a 2 because, like, I did like some of the fight scenes, not all of them, but a lot. They got better, I thought, and some of the choreography was pretty decent. The costumes weren't too bad. I don't know. It wasn't horrible, but yeah, it just took a long time to get to the good stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a 2 as well because yeah, some of the fight scenes are pretty cool. And then just like I said, I like the Wukong character. He was, even though this rendition was annoying as hell, in general, I think it's a cool character.
Yeah, I'd like to see more. It seems like there's a lot of stuff out there with that character.
Yeah. It's a very classic Chinese fairy tale. So
excellent.
it's like King Arthur. Was King Arthur real? I always wonder, like,
I think. I think he was.
And I was thinking about watching when this movie, like, what fairy tales does America have? Like Daniel, what is the Blue Ox guy?
Oh yeah.
It's about it. Johnny
Davy
Appleseed,
Crockett.
but I think he was real. I don't know. The Alamo.
Yeah, Davy Crockett. Um,
Gotta watch
yeah.
Telltale now.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to say about Monkey King, or does that about summarize our thoughts? Just
Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, that's about all I got. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna dive right into my choice. Wait, did my choice come next, or was it Krull? I think it was. Because my choice is 87. So
yeah,
Mine's
other one.
83.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So all right, so my choice was it goes by two titles. I guess in America it was known as The Land of Faraway, but the official title is Mio in the Land of Faraway. I guess based on an Astrid Lindgren book, like a kid's book, which she's the one who wrote Pippi Longstocking. So
Oh,
it's gonna be, so now it all makes sense. So basically picture like a sword and sorcery story, only done cutesy, and you basically get this movie. What I didn't, so this is a Swedish film, but what I didn't realize was that it was shot in the Soviet Union, and I guess during the making of it, Chernobyl happened,
Oh,
and
shit.
so they had to, so they had to evacuate the entire cast. And I guess they returned sometime later, and when they returned, like all like the crew and everybody had to be carrying Geiger counters to make sure they weren't in a radiated area when they were
damn.
filming. So apparently filming is a pain in the ass. So that kind of makes me like it a little bit more, but not much more. All right, so basically what we have here is kind of a standard kids fantasy. Most of the real like crazy, I guess most of the action happens in the first like 10 minutes of the film, and then takes a long time to get to, the good stuff that happens later. I thought that this was going to be much more action packed, but
Yeah.
yeah.
When I was watching, I was like, "Oh, this is a mix of Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings."
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like, and it's sort of I guess how would I put it? It's like supposed to be kind of like almost like a Roald Dahl story or something like that, where you have like the miserable kid who his parents are dead, presumably. I think
Yeah.
it's, or like,
exactly, Harry Potter, an orphan kid going to live with his uncle and aunt
yeah,
that treat him like shit.
exactly. Yeah, so it does start off very Harry Potter. He's getting bullied by his aunt, who's like basically just making him do chores all the time. For the uncle, who I don't even think we see him. Maybe we do.
No.
No.
I mean, for all we know, he's just like some guy in a bed. I mean, who knows? But he, so this kid is getting bullied by his aunts and uncle, his aunt, and he's getting bullied by the local playground kids. Who, there's like this scene where he's trying to sneak behind some neighbor who's like beating the sheets or whatever. You know how they
the dust out of the rugs or whatever.
Yeah. And the guy just starts yelling at him and says, "Hey kid," and he like pushes him toward the bullies. It's like this really melodramatic scene. Although I got confused because that guy, his head looked kind of like the genie that showed up a few minutes later. Like,
The big head.
Yeah. I got a little confused, but I don't know.
That was my favorite part.
It was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I didn't expect that. By the way, the reason I chose this movie was based on an old plot description that it had on IMDb that said like a kid has to travel to an alternate kingdom, or a kingdom far away to take down an evil sorcerer or something like that who turns kids into birds. That was the reason why I chose this movie. It was just because of that premise. So, let's see. So all right, so the kid, he goes to the shopkeeper lady, and she gives him an.
And
Oh
before
wait,
that, I do want to just say there was a funny thing that, like, so he got beat up by the bullies, and his hat got fucked up, and his aunt was so pissed. She's like, "Oh, this is ruined. Look what you did." And then in the next scene, he's wearing it, and it's like pristine. It's like, really? Was it that ruined?
yeah, maybe he had an extra or something. Who knows? Like an extra red cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sneaks out of his house after because he's all bummed out because she sent him to bed without supper, and
Just like Harry Potter.
Yep, exactly like Harry Potter.
Shitting on, and then and you could hear them yelling, saying, "His dad was a bum," just like Harry Potter.
Yeah, they're talking shit about his dad. It's like all this crazy shit. And so he sneaks out the window because he's all upset, which is understandable because he's obviously miserable. He goes to meet the shopkeeper lady. I guess she's just some person in the neighborhood that he gets along with. I mean, he kind of narrates something, but it seemed kind of like inconsequential kid stuff,
The narration was wacky too. Like, was this movie dubbed?
I think it was dubbed.
Because some of it looked, I mean, it sounded dubbed, but there was pretty well synced. I don't know.
Yeah.
But some of the dialogue was fucking silly as hell. Like when he was in the bedroom and he could hear his parents bitching, or his aunt and uncle bitching about his parents. He was like, "My father isn't a bum. He isn't. He isn't. He isn't. He isn't. I'm gonna go find him. I'm gonna go find him. I'm gonna go find him."
It was very stagey. Like, this is another movie that was made for kids, basically. Like, you could tell, like, if it were an animated movie, it would make more sense, with how like kind of cheesy the dialogue is. But you gotta just kind of go with it once you sort of know what it is, I guess.
Some of it is just funny too, how stupid it fucking was.
Yeah, they do eventually drop the narration, luckily. So
it pops, mostly it does pop up every now and then.
Yeah, but it's
not more in a like what he's thinking kind of way, like.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. So the shopkeeper gives him she gives him a apple, and then gives him a letter and says, "Here, could you go put this in the mailbox for me?" So, you know what? Before that, I should no, I'll get to that. So he puts the letter in the mailbox, and then like there's like this, he's like a homeless guy, who comes out of the apple. No, he's a genie. The apple turns golden, and then like a genie flies out, and then he like grabs the genie's beard and floats out of the planet and into the land of Faraway.
Oh, this is my favorite scene of the movie.
Yeah.
Easily. Just because the dialogue with that, I was laughing out loud the entire time.
It's really funny.
And then he started riding the beard, and I was like, "No, what?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole sequence made me happy I chose this movie.
Yeah, it was the highlight of the movie for sure. And then it wasn't even just that he rode it to some mystical portal. No, they started going into outer space.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this movie doesn't mess around. It just takes him to a totally different world outside everything, basically.
What was it called? The Land of Faraway.
The Land of Faraway. He lands in this big meadow, and I'm guessing these were probably the locations. It's my guess where they had to probably relocate from, because there's a lot of like nature-esque landscapes in this movie. But he shows up, and it turns out that his dad is a king, and plot twist, his dad is George Bush. I didn't see that one coming. So
George Bush?
Yeah. I say that because he's played by the guy who played Bush, and That's My Bush. And also
Okay.
because he looks like George Bush.
His friend, Tuck, Yum
Oh
Yum.
yeah,
His
Yum
friend
Yum.
Yum
Yeah,
Yum looked like a little Christian Bale.
yeah,
It
he is
is.
He is a little Christian Bale.
Yeah, I was like, he looks exactly like fucking Christian Bale. What the hell? And he was
Yeah,
probably the best actor of all of them too.
I mean, he almost felt like he could have been the main character. I mean, he was only in Empire of the Sun a few months later, apparently. So yeah, he and actually yeah, I forgot that was the part that I was going to mention at the beginning of the movie. He has the best friend or whatever who's he has a different name, Benki, I think his name was, and yeah, he's Christian Bale there too. You don't really learn anything about him though. So
Yeah, I didn't notice it too much because he's like wearing a hat and you didn't see him all that much. But when he gets to
yeah,
the land of Faraway, he was like, "Wait, what the fuck is this
well,
Christian Bale?"
yeah, Christian Bale looking the same and talking the same, even as a kid. And let's see, and he meets a bunch of other kids as well. He also gets a horse. Like all these people give him stuff. He gets pan flutes. It's crazy. And
Yeah,
then
they
like
all know who he is.
Yeah, just like
yeah,
Harry Potter. Everyone he gets transported to a magical place, and everyone
yeah,
already knows who he is because he's the chosen one.
he's the chosen one. Yeah, yeah. And right away he looks and he decides to go to a what do you call them, a wishing well or a vision well, whatever they're called.
It
And he looks
was
in
called a whispering
a
well.
whispering well. He goes to a whispering well, and then he gets the whole plot handed to him.
Like, yep, this is what you're gonna do for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and now this is where the problems with the problems I have with this movie very repeatedly kind of happen is
Yeah.
basically the rest of the movie, like a good portion of the next like hour of the film is basically just exposition about how this prophecy is going to come true. And so like kind of made it not very exciting because like all the characters are like, I know what's going to happen next. Like they immediately leave the village because he looks in the whispering well, and the whispering well tells him there's an evil guy who's played by Christopher Lee, Kato. Whenever they say his name,
Was
bad
that
stuff
Christopher
happens.
Lee?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, that was Christopher Lee.
Look, so much younger.
Yeah, for real.
I guess I see it now that you mention it.
Yeah,
I just didn't expect him to pop up in this shit.
yeah, no, him and Christian Bale are pretty much the best things about this movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whispering well tells him that Christopher Lee, Kato, the he who shall not be named.
Exactly. Another. I think J.K. Rowling like fucking saw this movie on her train that she scribbled those notes on. I was like, oh shit, I got this.
I would have to agree. This felt like it got kind of hilarious at a certain point because like they would even say, "Oh, you can't say his name," or he even the kid in narration says his name was so dreadful or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They immediately he looks in the whispering well and he says that this guy Kato is taking the children in the village and turning them into slaves by ripping their hearts out and replacing them with stones. And the kids who resist that, he just turns into birds and makes them float around the Death Lake for all of eternity, or at least until the castle crumbles.
Yeah, because the bad guy has a heart of stone, which is why he's hard to kill, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's, but the whispering well says that Prince Mio and a friend, presumably Yum Yum, they're gonna be the ones to take him down. And so then Mio and his friend are like, well, what are we waiting for? Let's go do it. And there's a little bit of drama where the kid is like, well, they said you could take a friend or whatever, or that you had a friend with you, and it may as well be me. There's a little bit of drama there, waste a few minutes. And then there's a kind of intense moment where they're trying to escape the drawbridge or whatever, and the horse won't stop, but then it floats down. I guess it's a floating horse.
Yeah, that horse had a lot of importance to those kids. They were like, I don't remember his name, but they were all like calling his name, saying it was awesome. Like, oh, this horse is dope.
Yeah, they say its name a lot. This is why I'm surprised I forgot what its name was. It was
Yeah.
some Swedish name.
Starts with
All
an
the
M.
characters are
I know it
Swedish
starts
names.
with an M. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Noah, I don't know. But anyway.
I'm looking for it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go for it. Miramis. All right. Yeah, Miramis, the white horse. He floats. They go through the Forest of Darkness, I think it's called. Everything in
the
this movie
Forbidden
has
Forest.
a title. Forbidden Forest. They go through
It was called the Forest of Mysteries, which leads to the land outside.
That's it. Okay. Of course.
This was also the part where it's a little Lord of the Ringsy with Frodo and Samwise.
Yeah. Two traveling companions, going through the dark. The most intense thing happens though is Mio, his cape gets torn. And so in the land outside, they meet up with some basket weaving lady or something, or she's a weaver. She's like a weaver woman. What's her name? She has a title too, I think, like Claudia the Weaver Woman or something.
It just says the Weaver Woman.
Oh, okay, never mind. So they go there. She weaves up his cape, and she also tells him that her daughter was one of the victims of Cato.
Oh, this is one thing that was hilarious to me too with the dialogue. It was so first when he came in, he was riding the beard, right?
Yeah.
And he says, and the beard was like, "Hey, you see that guy down there? Do you know who that is?" And he's like, "No, who? Wait, don't tell me. I know. It is my dad." Ah. And then with her, she says it again, and she was like, "Yeah, my daughter was taken by someone." And he was like, "Who? Wait, no, don't tell me. I know. It was Cato." He's just like, Jesus Christ.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You know what this movie reminds me of is that animated movie, Little Nemo in the Adventures of Slumberland. Like, it kind of reminds me of that because the dialogue in that movie is really bad too, like in that same kind of way.
The dialogue being like that, I thought it was gonna end with him like reading a book or something.
That probably would have made it make sense.
Like, I thought he was gonna, like, in the beginning at least, like, wake up in, like, some type of like trauma center. Like,
oh yeah, no,
like, because when he was hugging his dad when he came in, and I was like, this is kind of giving me creepy vibes. Like, does he have like some trauma related issues that he's repressing, and this is just him in like some child psych ward? It's just like, it was just so off-putting, the feeling.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about the ending of Neverending Story, because that movie ends in kind of a weird way too, where suddenly the line between fantasy and reality like becomes blurred when the Bastion character starts flying his luck dragon down into the streets to chase after his bullies, which to me, I don't know, like, nothing spells school shooter than I don't know, that whole like idea freaked me out. Wasn't there a book called like I Am the Cheese or something, that where like the book got like progressively weirder and weirder, and then at the end the main character was like in a mental institution or something?
I'm not sure.
There are even fan theories for Harry Potter that's what that was. Is just him being traumatized and then making all that shit up.
Hogwarts. Yeah. I was on Team Gryffindor. Anyway, so yeah, he talks to the Weaver lady or Weaver woman.
Which, by the way, I think was the store owner lady, right?
Oh, that would have made sense. Okay.
Because also that guy that was whipping the rugs showed up briefly too. I think it was just some crazy dude at one point.
Oh yeah, it happens a little later. Yeah.
So I think people from the real world were just showing up as different people in this shit.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe like yeah, it's possible that the kid is really in a psych ward. I mean,
Yeah, those are his like caretakers giving him the meds.
yeah, dude, Return to Oz. Oh my god, like that's what that movie's literally about. Dorothy's like Oz is like a figment of her imagination, and she's like in a mental institution, like trying to like fix her, and then like she goes back to Oz. She like returns to Oz. It's trippy. Yeah.
Can't say I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll watch it on the show. Anyway, so let's see. So yeah, so the Weaver lady. Okay, so yeah, so they leave that lady's house after she weaves up his cape, and then they run into some homeless guy in a cave, and he's hungry, so they give him food, and so in exchange for the food, he gives them the hint to beating the bad guy. It's like
Yeah,
the way
isn't
you.
the sorry, another Lord of the Rings thing. Wasn't it the bread that cures all hunger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The elvish bread
Oh
from Lord of the
yeah.
Rings.
Exactly. Yeah, it's another Lord of the Rings thing. Yeah, they give him some bread, and he says, in exchange, I'll give you the secret to defeating Kato, which is because his heart's made of stone. So you have to talk to this blacksmith who he's enslaved in a cave in the land of darkness. And so you have to talk to him and make you a sword that can cut through stone, basically. And so while they're talking to the homeless guy, the horse gets captured. So you get that dramatic moment where they have to evade the orcs.
Oh, I do think. Yeah. I do think that that homeless guy was the dude from the whipping.
I think so.
I
Yeah,
think that's where. I
the
think
Matt
that's
Whipper. Yeah, I kept on thinking he was the genie for some reason, but I guess that would make sense if he were that guy. Actually, the homeless vagrant, as this movie probably referred to him at, or maybe they gave him a title. I don't remember. So there's this chase scene. It's actually, that part's a little intense, but since you already know they're gonna win, it's like, meh.
that reminded me of the Lord of the Rings when they're in the Fellowship, like hiding under the log. They almost even had the same kind of shot.
Yeah.
And at the end they hid in a log, like in a tree that closed on them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which little did they know, because they had to get to the land of darkness, which was beyond the land of outside, or the outside land, or the faraway land, whatever the out. Yeah. So they have to. So they go inside of this tree. They immediately get separated from each other. There's this big long scene where they're looking for each other, calling each other's names, and they can't. And it's just so echoey. They just get more and more lost.
Oh yeah.
but then they start playing the pan flutes, and then they immediately find each other. So that gets resolved. Let's see. Then what happened? Oh, then it goes all Princess Bride. They talk to the blacksmith, and it turns out to be this guy who hates the villain and is more than happy to make them a blade. He's like, I hate that guy. I'll make you a blade. It's literally that simple. They barely even have to ask him anything. He just makes them the sharpest blade in the entire galaxy, and then he gives it to this kid.
Yep.
And oh yeah.
I was just like, yep. And he slices the anvil like butter.
Yeah, he slices the anvil like butter, and he's like, I guess you won't be needing that anymore. And it's like, well, yeah,
That's his
but
profession.
Right. I mean, like, sure, you may have freed me, but I still need a job.
Yeah. You split my anvil.
What am I gonna do now?
Yeah. God damn. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I wonder who the real villains are. Who really has the heart of stone? So let's see. So they get to Death Lake, and they go to the castle, and there's like this another scene where they have to evade the castle slaves, or the castle guards. It's kind of mixed up. It's like a combination of slaves and guards. The slaves are the weirdos in the hoods who look all wrinkly, and the guards are like the typical guard looking people.
And I do want to mention that the sword took exactly 1,000 years to make, but he finished it the day they arrived.
Yeah, I mean, coincidence upon coincidence. Like everything's working out for these kids, so go figure.
Let's see.
Let's see, what happens next? Oh yeah, they go to the castle. There's a disturbing scene where one of the guards like lights a bird on fire and kills
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That was messed up. Oh yeah.
I was laughing at that scene.
Yeah. It was obviously just like a really bad puppet bird too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine, which is of course fine, better than letting real bird up, but it was so
Of
bad.
course. Yeah, the effect wasn't super convincing, but yeah. I was still surprised by it though, because it's like, oh my god, they just like killed a bird kid. Like just um so let's see, they get in the castle, they immediately get captured. They get thrown in a dungeon that it's like one of those weird things where it's like down like below a platform. Like this is after they meet the Christopher Lee character and he makes his grand entrance, and Christopher Lee's only in a couple scenes in this movie, but he makes the most of his scenes. He pretty much just like flits around the room acting all like devilish and crazy, and he's got like a claw hand, which I guess is the hand that he uses to rip into children's chests, to rip their hearts out and replace them with stone.
Yeah.
That's presumably the case. And
I think that's what they said.
Yeah, and after he captures them, he contemplates whether he should turn them into slaves or turn them into birds. But then he decides, nah, I'm just gonna throw you in the dungeon and just starve you to death, and you'll be nothing but a small pile of bones till morning. They say that several times in this movie. They really want to hammer in the small pile of bones thing.
Yeah, it must be like long nights or something then. Real long nights.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, because he says that the nights here go forever or whatever he says. So they're in the dungeon. It's like a floating dungeon thing where they're like on a platform, which not really much point of like putting a prisoner on a platform like that to starve to death if they can just kill themselves by jumping into the fire pit. But whatever. But wait, the cloak. It turns out that the Weaver woman, I guess her thread did something magical to it, and so now whenever he puts the cape on, he turns invisible.
Cloak of invisibility.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
I was wondering too when he first got it, because you could see him put it on when he first got it, and the inside was all sparkly, and I was like, "Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it?"
Well, they did do it. It turns out the kid has the invisibility cloak. Little did he know. And there's 14 guards outside of his room, so he's got to sneak by them. Oh yeah,
it was 7 by 7, which I mean, I guess like the way they say it is it's 7 by 7, which in my mathematical thing is 7 times 7.
Yeah,
which would be 49.
That's what I thought at first.
But I think there were only 14.
Yeah, I thought there were going to be I thought it was going to be like in the 40s, and that it was going to be like a really hard thing, and they were going to have to fight them off or something, or like sneak by. I don't know what I expected, but turned out it was just a hallway of just a few guards, like, and then he just gets by. He like takes a torch.
Oh, and he got his sword back because some birds flew it up to him.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Christopher Lee takes his sword and throws it into the lake, or did he? Turns out it landed kind of near the lake, but not in the lake. And yeah, like you said, a couple bird children grabbed the sword and brought it back to our main character. So
Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. He's the chosen one.
Chamber of Secrets. Fox delivered the sword of Gryffindor to Harry Potter.
That's exactly what
What are we doing here, guys?
Come on, J.K. Rowling.
Right.
So, and actually, I did kind of like the effect. I thought some of the effects in the later part of this movie were sort of cool, where he was going up the stairs and they were like little dust particles of the footprints. Like that was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And some of
Oh,
the oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, and the floating torch thing was fucking stupid.
Yeah, I didn't understand the floating torch thing. um
Because in Harry Potter, he always has. Sometimes he has like a. I guess he does do like he puts out a lantern sometimes, but I think he sometimes has it inside the cloak too, so they don't see it. But
yeah. Yeah, but in this he just blatantly. Oh, but you know what though? I think one of the people he moves by was one of the slaves. So perhaps the slave was like, "Oh, like maybe he's like, oh, is he gonna go kill the bad guy? Like, good for him," type of thing.
some of them
Maybe.
were just freaked out that they saw floating. They were like, ah, ah! They're
Yeah.
by a floating torch.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this movie was going for, but whatever. He
And
gets
then he
to his
just like
chamber.
whips out his sword and breaks the locks and walks out, and they just were like, okay, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
Back
they
to
just don't
guarding
give a
these
crap.
kids. Don't know
Yeah,
what that was, but
yeah. He gets to Kato's chamber, and instead of just, he could have just iced the guy. He had the cloak on. He could have just gone up from behind him and just shanked him in the back and killed him. But no, he flings the cape off and says, "I'm here to destroy you." So there's this big fight scene where Christopher Lee, he like picks up one sword, but the kid's sword is sharper, so he chops the sword. Then he picks up a bigger sword. That doesn't end up working out for him. Then he throws a fireball at him, which the kid starts to run away from. But then, oh wait a minute. Oh, but at the beginning of the movie, the genie said, when he looked at the apple, that is your good luck symbol, or that's your symbol, that's your meaning, something or other. So that was going to come back to, and it turned out that the ball was like supposed to be like symbol. It was supposed to strengthen him. So it goes into a sword.
I didn't get
Christopher,
that.
yeah, it
I
was
was
like
just like, oh, he absorbed it. The sword absorbed it and got
well, like
powerful.
I was confused because the Apple thing didn't come up again until this part of the movie. But I specifically remember the genie like giving the apple like the importance of like, this is something that you need to protect yourself. Like, this is gonna protect you, or something like that. But he never pulls it out again. And I thought when he did that, it was gonna be like the Arin, a never ending story, where he was gonna just have it in his pocket and it was gonna like do something good. But turned out Christopher Lee had it. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, it's weird because it's supposed to be a prophecy, and yet it seems like everything's kind of pre-orchestrated. Like this whole movie, it's like in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where Charlie gets the very specific chocolate bar that somehow manages to be like the one bar that's like right there on the shelf in the display. Like, it just
and a
seemed too intentional.
and a
But anyway,
and like and a prophecy, like in I don't know, Harry Potter.
yeah.
In the
Yeah,
Department of
Harry Potter and the
Mysteries.
Land of Faraway. That's what this movie is. Christopher Lee he even says at one point, "You're gonna kill me. I've already seen it." But then immediately after, like, the kid says, "I'm gonna stab you," and then he's like, "Then you shall die." And
Yeah, that
then
was so
it's like,
weird. I was like, "You can kill me now, just do it." And he's
yeah,
like,
I didn't
"Okay, I'm
understand.
going to." No, you're not.
Yeah, so Kato is about to kill Mio, but he kind of just he kind of just slowly wanders to him with his claw outstretched, and Mio just kind of looks at his sword and just stabs him and kills him.
Yeah.
It's like the funniest death scene. So he kills Christopher Lee. He
Yeah, he
saves the
even
world.
said, "Oh, you beat me too." Before that
Yeah,
happens, like, "Oh, you beat me."
you
Oh
beat
well.
me. Yeah. If the villain even knows he's gonna die, then he's not even a villain.
And he gave that villain speech, but he's like, but once you beat me, there's gonna be another evil and
Yeah.
another and another, and then fucking Mio's like, yeah, but if I lose, there's gonna be another good guy too, over and over and over.
Yeah, basically good can't live without evil, and evil can't live without good. I get it, movie. Yeah, we've seen it 1,000 times. I mean, come
Well,
on.
there's some Star Wars there.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, even Star Wars has done it. Like, he saves the kingdom. The little kid who got, like, the little bird that got lit on fire comes back and comes back alive. It turns out it's the little weaver basket lady's daughter.
Would have been better if she
given
was covered in burn.
I mean, she was dead, so she was also brought back to life.
True.
Yeah, she was, and she had a look on her face like, boy, wait till I tell you what happened to me, type of shit. It's like, that's like long-term trauma, but okay.
Yeah.
Mio, I mean, Christopher Lee, or Christopher, or Christian Bale, Yum Yum, kind of chills after that. Doesn't really do much else. Mio runs to his father, and then the movie ends. It's like, and he never goes back to his aunt and uncle. I guess
He mentions that. Oh, I wonder what they're thinking where I am. Probably sitting on that park bench, but they'll never see me again.
yeah, I guess so. Like, and I guess Astrid Lindgren, when she wrote the book, she said it was inspired by some miserable kid that she saw on a bench, and she just wondered, oh, I wonder what he's imagining, and then she just wrote a book about it. And I guess
mean,
the literal bench that she saw the kid on has like a plaque put there that said Mio was here or something like that.
that's funny because J.K. Rowling said she was inspired by a kid that she saw on a train walking by the like. She's like, oh, there's just like some kid that walked by on a train she was riding, and then she's like,
All right, that does it. We're gonna have to start demanding some royalties, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty familiar stuff. I kind of got a kick out of it. It probably makes a better kids movie than it does an actual movie, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I'd give it probably like 2, maybe 3 on a good day. Like, it didn't blow me away or anything though. So.
I'd give it a 2 stars as well. I mean, I didn't like it, but
Yeah.
that one scene with the beard and everything, that gave it a 2 stars alone.
Yeah.
I was laughing for a good, like, however long that scene went on for. 2-3 minutes, just straight up laughing my ass off.
Yeah, that definitely made the movie for me.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene as well.
Yeah.
I gave it a 1.5. Maybe I give it a 2. Talking about it a little more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just like, it's kind of boring.
Yep, very.
Yeah.
But like the few effects, like the head and stuff, were I love the old effects like that.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would say. The biggest problem with this movie is it's really talky and exposition heavy, and the problem with it being so exposition heavy is that it's mostly people talking about how they already saw what was going to happen. You know, kind of makes the journey not as fun when you already kind of know how it's going to end, and all the characters are constantly reminding you again and again what's going to happen, you know. But it still had some creative moments, you know. And yeah, like all the practical effects I enjoyed. So
yeah.
I guess I admire a little bit that the film was even finished based on the disastrous making of.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't know that. Shit, it's crazy.
Yeah, Christopher Lee, I guess he talked about the experience of making it being really miserable. So. But anyway, I guess now we'll talk about our final film. All right, so our last choice is your choice, Nick.
Yes, I chose the 1983 movie Krull.
Yeah. Now, had you heard of this movie before you chose it? Or?
I think maybe vaguely have.
Okay.
Like, sounds familiar-ish.
Yeah.
Same.
I'd never seen it. I'd only heard of it. So.
Okay. And have you seen it or heard of it?
I had owned it. I hadn't watched it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I just chose it because I saw Liam Neeson was in it.
Nice. And Robbie
And
Coltrane.
Robbie Coltrane, Hagrid.
Yeah, another Harry Potter connection.
Yeah. um, where do I start?
They're easy to spot too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, especially Robbie Coltrane. Neeson was a bit different looking, I guess. I didn't know he was like an Irish act. Like, I guess he's like, I looked it up. It's like, is this guy English or he's Irish? But I didn't know. I thought
yeah,
he was American for some reason from all these Taken movies and shit.
yeah.
But
It's understandable. But
Yeah, I only knew he was Irish from Life's Too Short, the HBO show. If either of you have seen that.
is that the Gervais one?
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw that one. No, I didn't see that one. I saw the other one where he's Derek.
Okay.
That
Life
one
Too
is funny.
Life's Too Short's great.
I want to see
Especially
it.
there's the episode with Warwick Davis. That's the one Liam Neeson's in. It's
Oh, I've seen the
it's
clip. I've
it's
seen the
great.
clip. I've seen the clip on YouTube of that.
that's awesome.
This is it's like I at first I was like, uh-oh, did I choose a sci-fi movie? Because it opens up with like
Outer space.
outer space, a spaceship coming down onto a planet, and I was like, oh no, did I choose wrong? But no. Shortly after you see that like the people on the planet, and you get a little bit of a narration. So this spaceship, I guess, goes from world to world, just destroying, enslaving everyone in it. And
Yeah.
and yeah, this was the next one that was happening. The planet was called Krull, name of the movie. Uh
Yeah, basically.
we're given a little short summary. There's a prophecy as well that a girl becomes a queen, gets a king, and they will rule Krull, and then they'll have a son that rules the galaxy.
Yeah.
And so like I was relieved when I was like, okay, this is a fantasy because we go into like the people towns and they're all like dressed in regal old school medieval type stuff, but the knights are all dressed up in like stormtrooper gear. I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah, this movie did try to do the Star Wars thing, quite a bit, which was kind of had some. I don't know. I always enjoyed that sort of thing, but yeah, it at least got the sword, sorcery, fantasy aesthetic down, as far as like that kind of thing goes. So,
Yeah,
but I could see how this movie could like be viewed as having some sci-fi elements. So.
yeah, for sure. There were fucking laser guns.
Yeah, exactly.
They're straight up stormtroopers, basically.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, we're introduced to the characters. This queen's getting married to some other king because they need to form an alliance of kingdoms to take out the invaders, which are called slayers, I guess. And like the dad doesn't like the other king that his daughter's marrying, but I guess they have some type of relationship beforehand because when they meet up, they already seem to know each other and like each other and start making out and shit too. So,
Yeah, this movie gets right to the goods.
Yep. So they're going through the marriage ceremony. It's pretty interesting, I guess. A guy dips his torch in some water, saying "My fire to the wife" or whatever, and then she like takes a handful of water that turns into fire that she has to give to the dude or her new husband, but it gets interrupted by the invasion of the slayers and stuff, and just shit goes. That's where shit breaks down.
Yeah.
Know.
I mean, yeah, and I would say out of the three films that we're talking about, I'd say this one probably had like the highest stakes going on, like going for it. because even though, I mean, from what I get, I mean, I suppose that this movie is family oriented as far as these things can go, but it has quite a body count.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So during all that kerfuffle, the princess gets captured, of course. And the marriage wasn't fully done and everything.
Yeah. So that means that it has to be done by the end of the movie.
Yep. Spoiler, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
um so and he gets shot in the midst of the thing too. But he gets healed by, I guess, so they start forming parties like, in any fantasy movie.
Yeah.
By this, I don't know, this old guy that's, I guess, some famous old dude that everyone knows about. And he's like, "You never come down from the mountains." And he's like, "Well, I had to now.
Yeah.
Shit's going down."
It's not the seer, is it?
No,
Okay.
it's the old. They just called him. I think they just called him the old man. If I
Okay.
remember correctly. The seer's that blind dude. But
Okay. For some reason I got the two characters confused. So.
yeah, I don't remember his name exactly. What? Yeah. Shit.
Ynir.
Oh.
I think yes, Ynir. Yeah, that is it. So he basically tells him what he has to do. He has to go get this glaive, which I don't know if people listening are aware of. It's like a weapon. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a weapon in video games. It's used a lot, but it's not very commonly known, I guess, in real life. It's like kind of like a big throwing star.
Right. It kind of, it has like almost a similar function as like a throwing star, but like in this movie he can like summon it back.
Yeah, you can like control it, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So in a way he could use it almost like a boomerang.
Yeah. And he was like, "What? That's just a myth." And he was like, "Nope, it's real." So let's see, they go on the trek to go get that first. There's a whole climbing a mountain section. He's dodging boulders. He's free soloing.
Yeah.
Once he gets in the mountain too, he sees the glaive in lava, and he just puts his hand in there and grabs it. I don't know, magic.
That happened at another point in this movie too, like where somebody like fell through something. Oh, later on in the movie, a couple guys fell through the walls. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was like a kind of similar effect where he put his hand in, and yeah. But the reveal of the glaive was pretty cool, though. I mean,
yeah.
And then, that's actually one of the things that's always attracted me to this movie too, because they put that right on like the poster, that
the glaive thing. Yeah.
And and to me, it's like the title Krull, and then I look at that symbol, and it's like, oh, that's gonna be like a good time right there. I mean, just a good combination of elements.
Yeah. And so after he gets it, we're given some background as to the bad guy situation. Is that there's this beast, in a fortress that moves every day.
Oh yeah, they have to like figure out when it's gonna appear later. At one point.
Yep. And then the queen, also the dude wants to marry, the bad guy wants to marry the queen too as well by force.
Yeah. They kind of threw that in there.
Yeah, we cut back to the queen in her little enslaved castle thing, and every now and then, but it's really unimportant for all of the scenes basically.
Yeah.
But once he gets out of there, we're introduced to the next party member, Ergo. I liked him a lot. He was funny.
Yeah.
He's like the magician of the party, kind of like the mage, the wizard, or whatever, but kind of doofusy. He's like the comic relief kind of guy. His spells, like at first I thought, I don't know, he was trying to turn people into things, but it always turned him into things. Like he first just turned himself into a goose.
Yeah.
And he's always looking through his notes. He's like, "Well, this doesn't make sense," and then reads it and fucks it up. It's just like,
Yeah.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
He was a likable character.
Yeah.
I kept trying to figure out where I saw him in before, but I guess it was Willy Wonka.
Oh, the teacher in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was thinking too. There's a British game show. I forget what it was, but it's not the same guy, but it looks exactly like him.
Oh yeah.
Just real quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
And what's it? Yeah, I'm not gonna get it. But this, yeah, it's like a BBC show that I don't know. I see a bunch of clips for and everything. It's one of those like just silly little ones.
Yeah. He does. Yeah, I could sort of picture something like that. I bet, like a game show host having that sort of personality. So. Like if it were an English game show host.
One sec.
No worries.
Fuck no, I don't remember the actual name. Okay, so anyway, it was there's like a BBC game show that looked exactly like him. I tried to look it up and everything, but it wasn't him because this character actually, this actor died in 2003, so it's definitely not the same guy.
Oh. Well, I guess that concludes that.
But. Yeah. So they're going along, and then they get.
I know at some point they get tangled up with the seer because there's like a whole thing. I don't know when that happens though.
Yeah. So first they get ambushed by the party of like escaped prisoners, which is their next group members that which is Hagrid's in there and Liam Neeson's in there as well.
Yeah.
They're more the important side characters, but there's this, I don't know who the other guy was. That was the main one. He's all scarred up and shit.
Yeah.
And then there's a kid there too that's in it. He's like the first one to join up with them because he's like the main. Cohen is like the king guy. Cohen, he's like, I'll free you all if you help us. And the kid signs up. He's like, oh, this kid has more balls than you guys. But they all join up just because they got nothing better to do, I guess.
Yeah. Gang of thieves joins the heroes to take down the ultimate bad.
Yeah, and then also in random parts, every now and then we see this Cyclops come out of the woods, shoot down one of the Slayers, and then go back into hiding.
Oh yeah.
So he pops up every now and then, and he'll come back around later.
Yeah, the magician, he's like obsessed with gooseberries, and at one point like he stops to pick some and he almost gets killed but by one of the seekers or whatever, but then the Cyclops takes him out. Like the Cyclops pretty much just saves the party again and again.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Yeah.
And
the best character in the movie.
Yeah, and then we're also given actually some details about what Cyclopses are. They were a race that did have two eyes at one point on another planet that were taken over by the same people, the same bad guys. So they have an intense hatred for the Slayers. And they made a pact with the big bad that they will remove one eye, but you'll be able to see the future. But the big bad tricked them, cheated them, and the only future they can see is their own death. So yeah, the Cyclopses are pretty pissed about that. So they just go around killing them whenever they can.
Yeah.
So now they're going to find the seer, which is this blind dude. I don't know. He's in a marsh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like in some area.
Yeah,
like,
and he
underground.
Yeah, and he has like a kid apprentice with him too that joins up. They were on it because they wanted to see where the next fortress is going to pop up, but the big bad was like Sauron doesn't like Sauron in the eye, sees that they're trying to look into him and breaks it and doesn't let him see and shit. And their next mission is to go to a spot where he has no power and they can actually do it. So that's their next mission. On their way, they get caught in some quicksand. One guy gets drowned.
I hate those scenes in those movies because it's not that, I don't know, they always look so survivable. Like
Yeah.
when characters fall into muck. I mean, every once in a while I'll see a movie that does it well. Like Calvert did it really well. And I could think of some other movies that did it really well too, where there's like a scene involving quicksand or muck. But I don't know, it's always frustrating to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
this movie did it a little bit better, I'd say, than a lot of them, just because like it was kind of like a big scene where they were all struggling and trying to pull each other up and stuff. So
Still kind of got him out of there.
Oh yeah. And even before the quicksand, this is where the Cyclops already joined up with them afterwards. He becomes friends with the Ergo as well. He thinks he's funny and cool and shit. They all have just a random conversation about wishes, which is actually kind of cute when it comes to fruition. Like, I forget what everyone wished for, really. I know the Cyclops wished for ignorance. But the little kid that was the Seer's apprentice wished for one puppy. And Ergo was like, "Don't you want 1,000,000?" He was like, "No, I just want one." But after the quicksand, something happened to the seer, which turned like he got possessed or whatever and was leading the main guy away to kill him. But the Cyclops stayed back to, I don't know, guard and noticed that the actual seer's body came out of the quicksand and saved the main guy before he could die. And the kid is all distraught and everything because it was his only family. And then as they were walking, like the next couple scenes, as they were walking by Ergo, he transforms into a little puppy for the kid, which I thought was really cute. He was like, "Oh."
That was a sweet moment.
Yeah, and he's like, "I still don't get why just one puppy." but yeah, Ergo saw him do, or the Cyclops saw Ergo do that, and he was like, "Yeah, you're a good guy, Ergo."
Yeah. And then wasn't there also oh wait, I think I'm thinking too far ahead. I keep thinking of there's like something that happens with a spider at one point too.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much there actually though.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the next, since that whole, I don't know, they said they had to go to some Emerald Palace, but they're just going to this place now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
The old guy, the very first party member, is the only one that can go up because he says if more than one go, we'll all die. And if I don't return by morning, you know that I died or whatever. But he goes into like this big ass cave, spider cave.
Yeah.
The spider starts coming out and about to attack him, but he starts yelling, Lissa, the princess's name is Lissa, and then he starts yelling out that name. I'm like, what's going on here? Why is this? So this witch that they're trying to get this info from is also named Lissa. I don't really know why they did this because it didn't really pay off or make much sense. I thought maybe there was like some time loop type thing or something gonna happen.
Yeah.
Where like this old man was actually Cohen and this old lady was the princess, but no, it was just a coincidence. Like it wasn't even her daughter or their kid.
Yeah.
Because
it makes me wonder how many Lissas there are in this universe.
Right.
Yeah. I had to get that's the only reason for them to continue, or her to get her to give them that information because they have the same name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the scriptwriter, when they forgot that they forgot the name of the princess and didn't feel like looking in the back pages to figure out what it was, so they just hoped that it wasn't Lissa.
I mean, in the credits on IMDb, it isn't even named Lissa. It was called The Widow of the Web. for the IMDb credit.
Huh.
So I guess I mean I guess it would be confusing to see two Lissas, like
Yeah.
completely different characters, not like
Yeah.
old Lissa, young Lissa. But anyway, he calls out to her because they know each other. He's like, "It's me, whatever my name is." So then she flips a
Old man.
timer. Yeah, she flips a sand timer to stop the spider, and then he gets to her. They have this heart to heart because I guess they were lovers. They even had a kid, but he ditched her for I don't know why. He just bounced, and then she was so upset at him that she fucking killed their son.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, that's some pretty hard retribution for bouncing out.
Yeah.
Like
I guess they're trying to be like that Greek tragedy Medea or something like that. I don't know.
Like that happens on a daily basis in America.
Yeah, I know.
Dad walking out on kids, and I don't think the mom kills kids that often for that reason. Just because, oh, your dad walked out on us, I'm gonna kill you now.
Yeah, I don't know. That was strange.
But she gives them the info of where they're gonna the next fortress is gonna spawn. Gives them like a handful of sand and says, "This will protect you, but not for long. Once you drop all the sand, you're dead." Magic. Magic.
Shitty magic.
Right. It'll stop the spider, but once I mean,
just put it in a bag or something.
Right?
Yeah, like what the heck? I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, it was weird. What's the last grain of sand drops? Yeah, that's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
So will you, or something.
Yep. So he makes it out with like a few grains of sand left in his hand, and on his dying breath, he tells them where the next thing is, which is far away. So they're
Land
like
of Faraway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
more Harry Potter connection. More like
it's in some desert fucking, and they're like, there's no way we can make it unless we get some fire. I don't know, they're called fire mares.
Yeah. So they kind of wrangle up, it's like a big macho scene of a bunch of guys wrestling a bunch of horses.
That was a long scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kind of got tired of it after a while. Like at first it was kind of cool, but then the novelty wore off.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I was like, the horses kind of seemed like they didn't have much good control over them. I feel like some of them looked like they were getting fucked up by running around. Like the one kid jumped on, like it looked like he was gonna try and jump on and mount the horse, but he just kind of like jumped on to the side of his, like just like fucking kicked it, like drop kicked it and fell off.
Yeah.
Ooh. That looked like
weird.
it hurt. That looked like it hurt the horse and the kid.
Yeah, it was a very awkward scene, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, and here's a bit of trivia for you too that I found funny. Is that the Cyclops says that the fire mares can travel 1,000 leagues in a day. A league is defined as a distance a heavily armored man could travel an hour, usually 3 to 4 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So that means fire mares can travel about 3,500 miles a day, which gives them an average speed of 145 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's how fast they were going. Because once they got them on, once they saddled them, started riding them, they're fire mares, so their feet were on fire and they're booking it. And then they also just started flying too.
Yeah.
All that, and they were going 145 miles an hour, you said?
Okay. That's what the math would have been. Yeah. I don't know how it works in Krull, what their distances are, but yeah.
Well, it was a fancy scene. You see these guys flying across the landscape, leaving a trail of fire behind. I mean, yeah. So this is the final dungeon, I think.
Yeah. They
managed to reach the place before sundown because it's like, the castle appears at sunrise, and they have to get in the castle before sun rises again, or else the castle will move to a different location and they'll be stuck and won't be at the castle anymore.
Yep. And before that, before they leave on the horses, the Cyclops says he has to stay back because this is where he dies. Apparently, but he lied to them
He
because
follows them.
yeah, because when they were trying to penetrate the castle, they're not having luck. Hagrid dies, but you see in the background a horse coming in, and it's the Cyclops, and he helps him out. He does the whole hold door thing. He holds the door for him to get him in.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's unfortunately the scene where he meets his end.
Yeah, he gets crushed by the door. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Cyclops man.
Very brutal way for him to go.
Yep. And then they're just running through the castle for a bit.
Yep. Most of them get picked off.
Yeah, they're getting picked off. Liam Neeson dies.
Yeah, one guy gets like struck by lightning. Like a bunch of stuff happens on the way through.
Yeah, and then there's this weird ass trap in the floor that the the Seer's apprentice, the little kid, and the mage Ergo, they get trapped underneath and they have to fight their way through. And that was pretty cool because Ergo pulls out his superpowers and turns into a goddamn tiger and starts killing all the bad guys.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
him and the kid are separated from the group, but they thwart off the bad guys in the meantime, which is probably helpful because the group was getting picked off really fast.
Oh yeah. And also he does get wounded, the tiger. He gets shot.
Oh yeah.
Shot with those blaster pistols.
Yeah. In
blaster
this movie,
pistols versus swords. It was funny.
Yeah. In this movie, the stormtroopers can hit pretty easily.
Yeah. And I was just impressed they had like a trained tiger with a child.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, I was impressed too. That was pretty wild. I didn't expect to see that. There were a few things in this movie I didn't expect to see. Some of the set design was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Like that inside spot where it was like a ramp almost, and like the bad guys were shooting from the towers or whatever, and they were trying to get through. That looked really cool. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, the whole fortress at the end is pretty good looking.
Yeah. So the main character gets to the princess that's in prison, and he's like, at the beginning he's like, when, because he wants to use the glaive right when he gets it, but the other guy says no, you'll know when. So when he gets to the prison, he's like, oh, this is when, and he chucks it, and he breaks open, and he does break open and frees the princess.
And then like the monster,
he does, I guess he does tell the other two to bounce for some reason. I think too.
Yeah, like I think because like that was the point where like they needed to escape or whatever, or wasn't the castle starting to collapse at some point? Or
a little before. They do, a lot of them do get split up, but there was a group of 3 of them, like the younger of the prisoners.
They got stuck in the hallway with all the spikes.
Yeah, they get like trash compacted from Star Wars.
Yeah, one of them gets killed,
but with spikes. One gets killed. Yeah,
they were moving so slow though with spikes. Could have just moved a little bit.
Yeah.
You just know when they do the Krull remake, they're gonna, will eventually happen one day, probably. The spikes will probably move faster. So
and when they started moving again, they stopped once he was getting fighting with them, but like once I guess the fight started to happen where he was chucking the glaive and controlling it with his kind of hand and fighting it off, and you think it's dead, so the spikes were stopped moving, and he goes up and tries to grab the glaive again, but it turns out he's still alive, and the spikes start moving again, but
so he doesn't have the glaive anymore, but he still has his sword, so
how do He kills. So I know. Oh, so they finished the wedding ceremony. Just
That was
so
it.
so to kill the bad guy because the glaive didn't fully do it. They had to finish the wedding ceremony where she like lights his hand on fire, and now he's able to fucking
Yeah.
flamethrower out of his hand and just light the dude on fire and kill him.
I mean, that was like talk about gaslighting.
Right.
Like because it's like double, because she says you can do it on your own. He says no, it's our love that will defeat the monster. So now they have to hook up, and then she turns him into a firebender. So literally, it's like a metaphorical gaslighting.
Yeah.
Pretty clever. Anyway.
And then yeah, once he's dead,
He like throws fire at him.
Excuse me, the castle starts collapsing, so they have to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have to get out. They rescue the little boy and the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone else survives mostly.
I think. Yeah.
Like there's
because the spikes go back in once he dies.
Yeah.
So they're out. Yeah, so it's like 3 or 4 of the prisoners. And then like at the beginning, like the king guy offers to just undo their chains, and the one main prisoner is like, no, not until it's complete or whatever. And
Yeah.
at the
I
end,
liked his face.
yeah, he had a all scarred up, cool looking dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the end, he's like, he gives him the key. He's like, I don't know, I kind of want to keep these to remind myself of who I am or whatever. But he says, yeah, but you can keep the key. And he's like, but the key's only for the king and his master commander. And the king was like, yep, that's you, buddy. So
that was hysterical. Yeah, he gives a prisoner a key.
It makes him like his second in command or whatever, I guess.
I love that. What a twist.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, that's about it.
Yep, that's
about
Krull.
it for Krull.
It's a good one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fine. It was a fine little fantasy movie.
Yeah. The whole prophecy thing was kind of a bummer, but at this point it's to be expected from these movies, I think,
Yeah, the narrate like it didn't even really matter all that much either, because they don't see them having a kid, and they unless they're sequel baiting or something.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't even see them really controlling the rest of Krull. They just kind of ride off into the sunset. So it's like they didn't need that opening narration of what this was at all. They could have just gone with, yeah, there's this invading force, and then just go from there. Here's a king and a queen that.
Yeah. Instead, they kind of just stick to one little thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I'd say though that I liked this, like in comparison to like. Even in comparison to like that Albert Pion movie that we watched, The Sword and the Sorcerer, I think it was, or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Like this stands out more. It just has more distinction, and there's just like it's like more unpredictable. Like it felt like there was like more stakes with this one than there was with that one.
Yeah.
The characters, I mean, they didn't feel like superpowered like they did in that.
Yeah. I'd give it like a 3 should I give it a 3.5 or a 3? I don't know.
I'm like 3, maybe like a 3 to a 4. I'm kind of in the middle.
I'd give it a 3.5 because it is a solid, not boring fantasy movie. It has a little bit of originality. Like it's the same kind of plot to go save the princess, kill the bad guy, but it's in outer space with some, space guys shooting like stormtroopers shooting lasers at dudes with swords and stuff.
Yeah. The characters are entertaining.
Yeah,
and like
characters were funny. Yeah, good acting. Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. Good watch.
Yeah. Although I don't really remember the main character very well. I remember he had a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the side characters definitely are more memorable than he was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember the face of that main, like that prisoner guy more than I remember his. Of course, he had a great face. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd also give it a 3.5.
cool.
Was definitely surprised by this one. I was, from the cover and everything, I was like, all
Mhm.
right, what are we getting into here? But surprisingly,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
It-
Not surprised.
It doesn't have a very. It apparently didn't do well critically. It has pretty low scores online from what I saw. Like this one doesn't seem to be very well liked for whatever reason, but I thought it was pretty cool.
I guess it was you consider it a flop, I guess. Budget was 30 million, made 16.9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always yeah. Well, the effects were pretty good for the time. I mean, not like the greatest thing ever. Some of it looked kind of hokey, but
I
you
love
could
hokey 80s effects.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I like that too, and you can see where the money went. Which is what I like the most.
Yeah, all the sets were practical, which was awesome. Complete
Yes.
opposite of Monkey King.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where like all the locations were like digitally rendered.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to say about Krull?
I don't think so.
Yeah. It was a
No.
charming movie.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
I liked Ergo. Still another little Ergo thing. He introduced himself. Ergo, short in stature, tall in power, narrow in purpose, wide in vision.
Yeah. With characters like that and
It's
those
cute.
kinds of stories, like you can't help but love,
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. A lot of I don't know, a lot of fans and a lot of people I know who like this kind of stuff kind of remind me of people like that. So he's like
Yeah.
that one guy in Game of Thrones who he gets put in that library or whatever, or that prison. I don't even remember what happened toward the end of that series. But anyway, all right, yeah, I guess that concludes our fantasy episode. And the Wheel of Death, when we rolled it last time, it landed on David Dakota films, which we'd
Yeah.
seen Dr. Alien
Yeah.
already.
I was looking through that IMDb to choose one. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
His list is wild.
Yeah, I mean, apparently most of it's not any good, but I'm curious.
And they all have like the same name. Like,
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I have a VHS copy of it's like a screener VHS copy that my dad got from like work one time of Beach Babes from Beyond, which apparently is one of his movies. That's not the one I chose, but I have it.
I think that caught my eye, but it wasn't the one I chose. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want me to go first with the one I chose?
Sure.
Would I lie to you? That's sorry. That's the name of the fucking
The game show.
Yeah.
Would I lie to you?
Look, I'll show you. Let me see if I can find this picture.
Oh yeah, please.
And show it. And see if I can just post it real quick. Is there a chat in here? Yeah.
Okay.
Post it right here.
Oh. Okay, let's see.
The guy in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's funny.
He's the host of it. So yeah.
Okay.
If anyone wants to know, look it up. Would I lie to you? The host of that show looks exactly like Ergo.
I'm glad you were able to remember.
Yeah.
I'm glad it came to you. Good
Yeah.
timing. So should I go first with my choice?
Yeah.
All right, I chose a movie from I think 1996 called Prey of the Jaguar. It appears to be some kind of superhero movie. It's from the 90s. I don't know. That just makes me curious. Like, what are we getting into with that?
Okay.
What year? 90? Just the
1996, I believe. The Prey of the Jaguar. I think it's on Tubi when I checked.
Most of his movies are.
Yeah.
I know mine's streaming. I don't know if it's on Tubi though. Because he has so fucking many movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to choose. I thought about choosing one that like didn't have any views but was just available, but I'm like, maybe now's not the time with David Dakota. I think I want to wade in a little carefully here.
Yeah. Mine is on things, but you might have to pay a couple bucks to watch it.
Okay.
Well, I'll just go with mine then. Mine is The Sisterhood from 2004.
Okay.
It looks, I thought it was a vampire movie, but the description says, I don't fucking know if witches too. It's a teen horror flick about vampires that corrupt a college sorority.
Nice.
Okay.
The Sisterhood?
Yep.
Okay. No traveling pants.
No. In 2004, because I think there are a few films called The Sisterhood.
Oh, okay. So 2004.
2004, The Sisterhood.
All right,
David Dakota.
All right. All right. I'll be on the lookout.
All right, and mine is gonna be, it's a mouthful. Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bowl-orama.
All right. Is that like a bowling alley? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I've seen that title before. I've always been curious, but I've never seen the movie. So here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go,
Same
David
here.
Dakota.
So it's Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bowl-orama.
Yeah.
All right. Sorority Babes, Sisterhood, and Prey of the Jaguar. I'm looking forward to them. And then before we say goodnight, should we spill the wheel? Should we spin the wheel of death?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I always forget how to do this.
Oh yeah, no worries.
All right. You can see it.
Yeah.
Shuffle these up a couple times.
Nice.
And there we go. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Oh,
Sweet.
boy.
All right. I can't wait.
Yeah, that should be an interesting one.
I mean, we did do a dinosaur movie on this show one time. What was that one?
Carnosaur.
Yeah, Carnosaur.
Didn't we do Velocipaster too?
Oh,
or was
yeah.
that just...
We did.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love both of those.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh.
cool. Oh yeah.
So there can only be so many good ones, though.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. All right. Well, I guess I'll try to decide carefully then. So.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that does it. That does it. All right. Cool. Well, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening to our fantasies.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hit that bell.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Yeah. Have a good one.
See ya.